and Chief Yuya will join us a little later in the show. But I'd just like to welcome you all back, and I will that everyone strong has been productive. So usually about this time I do the recaps of all of the shows last strong, but I kind of want to do something a little different this dawning, and it's a bit of a challenge, you know. um, I was told that this wouldn't work, but I think, I have a little bit more faith in people. So we're going to see. So instead of me doing the recaps of all of the shows last strong, I would like to see if anyone listening can do the recap. So if you're on the line, if you want to call in and do the recaps yourself or tell us about something that you learned or inspired you from any of the shows last strong, just press 1 and we'll put you right through. So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes to Google it or to go to the YouTube channel and wait for you all to call in. So while you all are doing that, I'll go ahead and start with some of the announcements. So I just want to give you all some of our websites. So those of you that are listening that may be fairly new, you may not know where to start to kind of get involved with what's going on with ANU Nation. So I'm going to let you know what you can do to get involved. So anunation.org is the hub website for the Spiritual Center, the Media Center, and the Self-Help Center. And there you can sign up for the mailing list so that you can, that you'll be kept in the loop of all the current, happenings with any of the components of ANU Nation. And so there are also links there on that site to all of the other websites. So the Spiritual Center, saduluhouse.com, is the learning ministry of ANU Nation. And this is where you can go to sign up for the ANU Spiritual Training course. And you'll also find our monthly webinars listed there as well. So if you're kind of ready to go ahead and start, learning about some of the concepts and calculations of ANU Nation, the courses are there on saduluhouse.com. And that's including the free starter course, which is called Orisha, Unlocking Your Inner Power. The Media Center is where you'll find all of the enlightenment and transformation shows. So for those who are new to the courses, I wanted to inform you that this part of ANU Nation is also supplemental to the training. So you're not just going to find all of your, the answers or whatever to the training course in the book. You can also find a lot of information in the shows. So there are over 400 shows there. So again, the books are not the only resources for the class. Hang on just a second. I think I got beeped, but oh, okay. Sorry. So again, the Enlightenment Transformation shows are there. And don't forget to subscribe to Enlightenment and Transformation TV on YouTube so that you can go back and listen to the older shows. Hang on just a second. Okay. So we just had a little bit of a glitch. We're going to play the intro real quick and then I'll come right back. So that'll give you a little more time to research some of the shows that we did last strong. So I'll be right back.
You are now in the realm of enlightenment and transformation.
Welcome to Chief Speaks.
All music performed and produced by Yuya.
Enlightenment and transformation. Enlightenment comes from allowing yourself to journey through the dark shadows of death, the primordial abyss of wisdom's waters. For it is the treasures and mysteries that lie wait in the dark that transform us and propel us to a new enlightened state. One should neither aspire to live in the light nor the dark, but should journey between the two in order to evolve the overall reality into a self-actualized creation. Knowledge is your light as wisdom is your darkness. The bold interplay of the two in your life leads you to an enlightened understanding of yourself and the universe you've created. Male is your enlightenment. Female is your transformation. Child is your evolution. Woman, accept the light into your darkness so it may enlighten you. Man, bring your light boldly into the darkness so that it may transform you. Enlightenment and transformation.
I love you so much because you just don't know what you've just done for me. Thank you so much.
Wow. This is like the best call I've had in ages on BTR.
So this show was meant for me to be able to hear today. And I'm so thankful.
That's his home.
Therefore, now a new pathway has now been cut in order to get to the Almighty, where there may not have been one. So the communication with them, if they have enough power and strength, to talk to us, the communication will be very good.
That's one of the reasons I don't get into the current events thing too much, because it starts to become a perpetual alarm clock that we just keep hitting snooze on. I speak to the ascended masters, quote unquote. I talk about spiritual stuff, but I also speak about some very practical, we can do today things.
Be as natural as you can be with your spiritual. You can't always go by your feelings, because your feelings are corrupted. Your feelings are just as corrupted as everything else, your chakras and everything else. You got to know what's beyond you, and that's why we have elders. We can't do everything. You can't get everything out of books or weekend certification. You can have the most powerful, ancient, oldest, most, as far as you know, truthful tradition in your hands. And if you still have a dirty spirit, you're not going to get anything out of it. You're not going to learn anything. You're not actually going to grow. I try to teach in a way where I make myself obsolete. That's always been my goal, to make myself obsolete.
I really wanted to, kind of big you up. I think you're awesome.
There's a lot of elders out here right now that want to know what's going on. They're not getting on Twitter and stuff like that, but they want to be up on the new stuff. Sit down and have some conversations with them. It's not always about hearing their story. It's also about being news reporters for them and letting them know, like, yeah, this is what's happening right now. They may tell you something about what happened in Charleston that you couldn't even. Your spirituality has to create same spiritual family. Okay, and that family exists first inside of you. You have to express the different expressions of that rainbow coalition of spirits inside of you first. Okay, don't let communities hijack that rainbow. If the problem is when we come into the conscious community, the dudes are doing the same thing that the women are doing.
I just want to say that I really enjoy your show every Sunday, and my friend and I call it going to church. When we call in, we'll be like, "You going to church?" And I'm like, where have y'all been at?
God cannot go against its own truth. So anytime you have an inkling that God is going against its own truth, then God is no longer behaving as God. So therefore, the spiritual community doesn't recognize God. You dig where I'm coming from? Or can we have a new thought? Can we step outside of the books for a second and have a new conversation about hair weaves and wigs? Can we have a new conversation about homosexuality? Can we have a new conversation about vegan eating? We do. It's a good day for exorcism.
347-945-7680. Call in and let's build.
Greetings, and peace, everyone. Welcome to Chief Speaks, and I am Kim, one of your co-hosts. Welcome back, and I will that everyone's strong has been smooth and productive. Just to give you guys a head up, I wanted to say usually about this time at the beginning of the show, I'll do a recap of all the shows from Last Strong, but I wanted to give the listening audience a chance to do it this time. So I just wanted to see, sometimes you're not sure if people are really listening, and we're putting a lot of effort and time into some of the shows. So I just wanted to know, like, if anyone's listening, if you'd like to call in and do a recap of some of the shows Last Strong, or if you just like to share some of the things that you may have learned from the shows Last Strong. So you can just press the number 1 and we'll know that your hand is up. And you can give us a quick rundown instead of me doing it all the time. So while you all are dialing in and scrambling to the phones, because I know that you listened, I have faith in you. I'm going to go ahead and just give you some of the links to our websites to let you know what's going on with ANU Nation. And I think we already have a caller. So 662, welcome to Chief Speaks. 662.
Hi.
Greetings.
Yeah, sorry, I love you.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said I love you. I guess my phone is down.
Oh, okay. I got you. Greetings. Peace.
So you wanted a recap from last week?
Yes.
I can do a little bit.
Okay. Let's have it.
Of the recap. I can start with the feet is the base part of your chakra that we need to take care of. That was which one was that on? That was actually Friday before last. I went 2 Fridays.
Right. that was the strong before last strong.
Okay.
About the foot chakra.
About the feet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So on loyalty and entitlement, Chief was talking about how some people expect, they take advantage of your and they feel like they're entitled to it. If you're gifting them with something and they think that that's
right.
What they do,
mm-hmm.
Instead of accepting it as accepting and treasuring the blessing and being appreciative.
Right.
How that get out of hand and how people actually get mad if you stop gifting them or stop blessing them and things of that nature.
Okay. That was actually on Thunderground Thursday. Okay.
And I know about Foundation of Friday because I listened to it last night and this morning.
Okay.
Somewhat anyway. As far as knowing, he mentioned and what is that bird called?
The Bennu bird. The Bennu bird?
It was another one, the phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So what I got out of that one was that you have to consistently be working on improving yourself.
Okay.
That's what I got from it. You can't just get stagnant and just sit back and say, okay, I know this much. This is all I want to do. You have to constantly improve yourself if you want to truly become enlightened.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Okay. So you didn't check out the other shows? Oh, I'm so crushed.
Which one? I checked out all of them.
Okay, so we had Masterminds Mondays. And we still had ANU Asafo on Wednesday. So we had 2 other shows. We got one on Monday, we have one on Wednesday, and then we have Thursday and Friday. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So
okay. Thank you so much though for that contribution, because you know what? Somebody told me nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna call in. They weren't listening to the shows. And I was like, no, I beg to differ. I was like, I have faith in our audience. I know they were listening. So thank you so much. I'm glad that you got something in the show.
In the archive.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, peace. Okay. So as you see, we did have a caller to call in and recap a couple of the shows from us. And I see we have another one, someone else calling in from the 447 area code. Let's see if they can round out the strong for us. We were still missing a couple of shows. So 447. You're on with Chief Speaks.
It's Sister Kim, it's Brother Byron. How are you doing?
Greetings. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's great to hear from you.
Okay, so yeah, it's nice to hear your voice too, live. So I've not listened to all of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've listened to the entitlement and loyalty.
Okay.
On the archives because of the time zone difference.
Right.
So what I gathered from that was that a lot of folks are ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
And they are unwittingly ungrateful. They start off being grateful, but over a period of time,
mm-hmm.
they take the kindness or the grace or the favor of somebody for granted.
Right.
And then they have an which then goes on to a feeling of entitlement. And that is something that really resonated for me.
Mm-hmm.
Resonated for me because I've been having experiences around who, and it was basically the same thing that she said.
Mm-hmm.
First time I did them a favor, they're grateful. Second time, they're a bit less so grateful. Third time, they don't even tell you that they've received the favor.
Wow.
Oh, and then the fourth time, it's like silent.
Wow.
So I thought, boy, Chief must be knows what's going on with me around me sometimes because that's how it is for me.
Okay.
So that resonated really well, and then it's really made me consider the feeling of entitlement,
mm-hmm.
and whether, because I think that most people don't do that deliberately. It's something that creeps upon them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe only a bad mind person is going to set off really to get to a place of entitlement and say, right, I'm going to just do nothing and be entitled. But maybe there's it kind of creeps on us.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those strong drinks that get you tipsy and they don't even realize it just kind of creeps up on you.
Wow.
And maybe I'm just really trying to check myself as to say, well, do I demonstrate entitlement to people when I should be grateful? So not only am I seeing it from, well, I feel that people sometimes operate around me like that, but I'm checking myself to try and make sure that I don't take things around my family for granted.
Right. That was a heavy show. That was a great show.
More of the show, Sister Kim.
That was a great show. Thank you so much, Brother Byron, for sharing your experiences with us. Always.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. And you have a good day.
You too.
You go down your family every time, yeah?
Okay. You too. Peace. No doubt. All right. So that was one of our supporters from the UK calling in. And it's always great to hear from Brother Byron. He always takes the lessons and is one of these students that's always supportive and that really takes these things and puts them to action. So thank you for that testimony, Brother Byron. All right, we have another caller from 615. 615, you're on with Chief Speaks.
Greetings.
Greetings. Good morning.
All right, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm well. I'm about like them. I caught the last three, like the new Asafo. That was the one about pressed emotion.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Dealing with things that you don't really want to necessarily deal with.
Right.
When you ignore it, it turns into this thing that don't really that you don't let it get bigger than what it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Monsters.
Talked a lot about dealing with Olokun and, you know, how certain cultures fear the depths, but, you know, and you had said something that stuck out of my mind too, like the indigenous African culture didn't look at the ocean as something to be feared, but something to be respected, because it is just like it's the biggest graveyard, it's the biggest treasure chest too, because, you know, everything at the bottom ain't necessarily terrifying and scary. Some of it's really good. You just have to, you know, unearth it, and let it serve your purpose. And then the loyalty and entitlement was the one about when you, to me, all of them tie in because it all deals with a subconscious aspect of yourself when it comes to loyalty and entitlement. Because if you let people get away with stuff, then they gonna expect it, and you let them get away with it because there's an aspect of you that you're not keeping it, trying to, portray or posture yourself to be this particular person, and you project it on other people, but you're not really, setting the boundaries of what your kindness or intentions are. And their loyalty is based off of what they perceive you to be or to be doing, as opposed to them just being loyal to you because you're a good person. And that tied in with the Bennu bird about how, you go through a process to the point to where, okay, you start off right here, people helping you out, and then you raise up to helping them out. So it's just, to me, they all were tied in together to me.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling in. And I've got a bit of an echo. Hang on just a second. But thank you so much for calling in. And like I said, I'm so glad I did this strong because I knew you all were listening. I knew you all were listening. And so thank you so much for sharing your testimonies about how the shows affected you or sharing what you learned from them. So I'm gonna try to echo real quick. And I think there now.
Okay, peace, everyone. If I can be heard, then yes, I am here. And that was an excellent recap, and I will have to say, yeah, I was the one who said that wasn't gonna work. All right, so. I mean, you said it like 5 times, so obviously somebody was gonna have to say, yeah, it was me, So yeah, Sister Kim came up with that, and I said, that's not gonna work. I said, you're gonna be sitting there. I said, if you do the recap, if you ask for a recap, don't sit there and wait for them to call in, because it's gonna get real awkward very fast. And okay. It held it down. Although didn't hear Mastermind's recap, so
that was the one that was left out.
Yeah, so I'm somewhat wrong, but I'll take some of the wrongness. I'm not taking all of the wrongness though. But let's see. We got another call from 518 area code.
They're gonna bring it home. Watch.
Yeah, right. 518. You're on Chief Speaks. 518. You're on Chief Speaks.
Hello?
Yes, greetings.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Yes, I'm first time calling, hit the button by mistake. I'm so sorry, but I'm listening. I tried to call on,
it's okay.
Let's see, I think it was Friday, and I must have had the wrong number because it said there wasn't no show for 24 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. It's okay.
This is the right number to call?
Yeah, but on just so you know, and maybe some other people might make that same mistake. On our strong days, so our Monday, we have a show on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and those shows we don't put on Blog Talk. Those shows we do live on YouTube. So the only call-in show we're doing as of right now is on Sunday. So
okay, because I got it from brother L. Okay.
Oh, brother, yeah. Well, you know what?
Frequency, yes.
Yeah, he probably didn't realize. Yeah, he probably because we just did the change maybe about a month ago. So it's a brand new thing. Yeah. But you did the right thing.
Okay,
right.
YouTube. Say it again. I'm sorry. I'm writing it down. Monday.
Oh, okay. Just go to Enlightenment and Transformation TV. So it's youtube.com/Enlightenment and Transformation TV. So, Sunday is the only call-in. All right? All right, cool.
All right, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'll come offline.
All right. yeah, so I guess 518 didn't bring it on home, Sister Kim.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. She called in to ask about the other show, so she'll be able to do it next strong.
Okay, just don't want to let that go. Huh? All right.
No, because I told you I have faith in our audience.
Good. I mean, your level of faith and trust is encouraging, because I certainly said, nah, they ain't gonna. Most people listen from the archives, and then on top of that, most people don't like participating in anything, so ain't nobody gonna call it, you know. But yeah, you proved me wrong. But you know, this is one Sunday.
That's okay.
You know, sometimes our people have
you know what?
trouble
This was
with
brand
stamina.
new. It was brand new. They weren't expecting me to do that.
Yeah, because this was the first show that we ever asked them to share their insight. So you're right. So I give you that. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm reading the description of the show here, and it says you can go to enlightenmentandtransformation.com/forum to share your insights and comments. And I could have sworn there's some heavy voiced man in the beginning of the show that says, "Call in, let's bill."
Who was that?
Oh, I got to go back. I'll check the archives, and maybe I'll see. Yeah, so this may not be the first Sunday we asked them to call in and comment on the shows. In fact, I think after the shows on Thursdays and Fridays, that heavy voiced man says, "Call in this Sunday and let's talk about what we just finished talking about." Yeah, but hey,
maybe.
Yeah, you might have missed that, but it's all good. You know, I'm gonna run something by you all who are listening. You know, and again, welcome everyone who's coming in from archives later. I know a lot of people like to listen to the show Monday during their workout. I've been finding that out. It's a long workout. Sometimes these shows last strong. We went 3 hours till we got cut off. But welcome everyone, of course, who's coming in from the archives later. And I definitely want to welcome everyone who is listening live on the phone lines, and those of you who are listening right now from YouTube and all the different links that we have put up, and coming from iTunes everywhere. We are coming out of a lot of different funnels. All right, but just, welcome to everyone to Chief Speaks on High Frequency Radio, as well as Enlightenment and Transformation. Call-in number, you guys already know on High Frequency, is 424-222-5250. If you want to speak, and you guys already called in. I see you guys on the phone lines now. Just hit the number 1. And for Enlightenment and Transformation, 347-945-7680. Hit the number 1, as you know, because I already see some people called in on that piece. All right. So again, as always, welcome. Thank you for coming through, and thank you for the recaps. Thank you, especially Sister Michelle. The first recap she gave, I think she gave the most. But she gave 2, actually she gave 3, because she went the strong before with the foot chakra, and then she dealt with this one. So, shut me up. So, thank you. Although we're still Mr. Masterminds. But anyway.
Hey.
I got to call it like it is. So, thank you for tuning in. And, I'm going to get into the insight in a moment, but, you guys have the call-in number. You can call it at any time, and all you have to do is hit the number 1 if you want to speak, if you want to share your experience or whatever it is. Just hit that number 1, and you're welcome to do that. And, of course, like Sister Michelle did say, we were building on, and Brother Byron, as well as Brother Dietrich. Well, everybody didn't give their names, but I guess I'm giving the name. Michelle and Byron did. The other one was Dietrich. Dietrich sounded like he was just rolling out of the bed, though. Talk about resurrection.
Wow.
He sounded like he just came out of a grave. He's like, good morning. Yeah.
But he called.
Yeah, You probably was like, see, I'm not on Facebook anymore. You probably was sitting blasting on Facebook at the same time. Please, y'all, help me.
Nope.
I'm always losing bets with him.
Nope.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, we were covering really some things. You know, we're coming down to the end of the financial year, not necessarily the year, but there's different, you know, different calendars you should all be working off of. You know, I've said that before, and for all you new listeners, I'll say it again. Don't use one calendar, because you have different cycles that are active in your life. You know, it's just like one woman's cycle calendar is not going to work for another woman's cycle calendar. I mean, of course, if they're living together and they're close, you guys tend to do that real witchy sync up thing. But we have different calendars that we have to function off of. So, you know, you got your natural calendars, and then you have your secular or your contrived or man-made fabricated calendars. You know, so we're coming to the end of another fabricated calendar, but it really reflects a lot of what our finances, our financial perspective and standpoint should be. So I've been just kind of hitting some topics and some ideas through the insights that will allow us to launch forward into the things that we desire to do, while cleaning up some of the things that may be obstacles in our paths. Because, like I said, one of the which I was saying is strong on enlightenment and transformation, that one of the key issues that a lot of us have in our communities that we don't address as often as we probably should is the level of mental sickness that a lot of us are dealing with, and in emotional sickness. And a lot of times these emotional and these mental imbalances or disarrangements, they create these huge blockages towards what it is that we desire to do in life, where we want to go, the next step. So we get all the information. We got all the information. We know all the right things to do. We know all the right things to eat. We know all the right things to say. But making it happen is such a challenge. And of course, you know, for years I've been speaking about the balance between male and female, and how that's necessary, that negation and that addition is necessary in order to produce something on the planet, because you see that in all spiritual formula, you see that in cosmic formula, and of course you see that in earthly formula. But aside from that as well, is coming into your situation as a whole being. And that wholeness or that trueness is that's really the tough part. You know, like I said, a lot of times when I'm doing divination and I'm working with clients and things like that, the divination is not as hard as you all probably think it is. The answers come very quick, especially when you're one who's pretty much always tuned in, you know, who's tapped in. So 80% of the work is the psychological part. You always hear me say that. It's 80% psychology, 20% divination. Because once you receive the answer, now I have to figure out how to say this to a person. And not only how to say it, and each person is different, and how to say it in a way that it activates them to action. You know, sometimes I'll say things and people, like I was talking to a client recently, and she said, well, you know, I was saying something, and she was like, well, there's a certain way that I need to be spoken to for something. She was actually referring to another incident with someone, and she said, like, you know, or I just kind of shut down. And I said, well, you don't activate from anything. If you look at your life, you're actually not doing anything. You know, so whether a person is saying something to you very directly or whether they're sugarcoating it, it seems to not make a difference either way. So there has to be a different type of formula of how you receive the information. It's not really what's being said to you or how it's being said to you. You've blocked off your ability to receive it. You know, so the psychological aspect of the spiritualist, or the psychological aspect of the priest or priestess, is to determine how to navigate the minefield of a person's ego in order to plant a seed where it needs to be. That's the bulk of this work. That's why you notice a lot of the shows I do, I'm talking about our mentality. I'm talking about our emotional perspective and our emotional condition. Certainly, I've done a lot of shows on different spirits and broken down Hindu spirits. I've broken down Greek spirits. I've broken down Nordic spirits. I've broken down West African spirits. I've broken down South African spirits. I mean, I can go on. So you got all the spirits. You know where to start when you want to start doing some magic. But there are spirit forms that are created in the mind and that are created in the emotional body that a lot of times we ignore because we don't understand how the system works. For instance, if you think about everything in life has this metabolic process that it goes through, and different organisms have more advanced metabolic systems than others. So, for instance, right now you're breathing, you're exhaling, you're breathing and exhaling, you're building, you're destroying. You have anabolic and a catabolic process that's happening right now, right? So the same thing, some of you may be listening to this while you're eating. You may be eating your dinner, right? And then once you eat your dinner, you use the fuel from that dinner, depending on how your body is processing minerals and the different vitamins and things that are inside of that food. And then you expel some of it, right? And depending on the health of your system will depend on what you expel and how much you expel, right? If you expel at all, even. So we start to understand that anything that's ingested, anything that's taken in is going to have a waste product. But sometimes we don't realize that that is a universal principle. It doesn't just pertain to food. Okay. It doesn't just pertain to things that we gather sustenance from. So you have your body, and I've said to you guys many times that wherever you come from is what you're going to need in order to continue to sustain yourself, right? So if your body comes from the earth, your body's going to need the earth in order to continue to live. Real simple. So, we eat, quote unquote, what we call food. Because I have to say quote unquote, because nowadays certainly some of the stuff is kind of questionable if it really falls into the category of actual food stuff. But wherever you come from is what you need. So if you come from spirit, you need to reconnect and commune with spirit in order for the spirit to stay alive. If you come from a supreme architect or a grand perfected intelligence, then you're going to need that intelligence or whisk of that intelligence in order to survive. You see, you always have to go back to the source of whatever your creation is in order to sustain said creation. Now, of course, where we're at here, we really love the creation, the created aspect, the creation more than the creator. We get heavy into the creation, and sometimes we don't go back to the source, but maybe that's another topic. We'll go down deeper. But what I really wanted to share is that there's that waste product, and that waste product a lot of times are the residual and unexplained emotions and thoughts and ideas and spirits that exist inside of us that come from ingesting something good. So for instance, if you eat I don't want to say strawberries are filled with pesticides usually, but if you grow your own strawberries, or if you eat coconuts, or if you eat apricots, right? You can eat these foods, and these foods may be perfect foods, kale, callaloo, and they may be good for you to the point that there's almost nothing wrong with them. But even still, there's a residual byproduct. So even if you drink a fresh, perfected, clean glass of water, right? Does the water completely stay in you? No, there's a waste product that the water expels with. Now, what if you didn't expel? What if you didn't release that? Then what was once good now becomes toxic inside of your system. You see? So a lot of times that toxicity becomes the blockage for what it is that we want to do in life. So we start reading book and documentary. We're going to debates, we're going to lecture, we're intaking all of this information, right? And we're intaking all of this information without realizing that the information leaves a residue. Because after it's processed, we have to number one it out or number two it out. And sometimes we don't realize that point. There's no emotional or mental expression or expelling of what was good that came in. And now that creates what we call the blockages. A lot of times they're egoic blockages, you see. And some could even say that your wayward emotions are the waste products of your mental meanderings. Okay. But what I really wanted to tap into, and I'm not going to make this a long insight this morning, was the idea of devotion. All right. So we understand now why we have to address things like loyalty, things like entitlement, things like regeneration when we're dealing with the Bennu bird. How are we coming back forth again? Because these issues, these maladies that we have inside of us are a byproduct of our growth. They're the waste product of our growth. You know, you ever notice sometimes the more you learn, the more you're afraid to do things? The more books you get and the more documentaries you write, you watch, the more you find yourself in a space where you're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. You see, it's a commonality for many of us, you know, mainly because we come to a space where there's so much byproduct at this point that, of course, we don't know where to start. We don't know how to start because we have all this waste of byproduct. It's like eating a bunch of food and not expelling it and then trying to go do a heavy physical activity. You're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel cramped, so forth and so on. So the byproduct that I want to talk about today, or not so much the byproduct, the concept that creates a serious byproduct that a lot of us don't look at, which is related to loyalty and entitlement and everything else we've been covering. Like I said, there's a series here. There's a person I'm healing in this work. And what I mean by a person that I'm healing, when I'm speaking, I'm doing lectures, I'm doing seminars, or I'm doing these free offerings on the radio. I typically will envision a person, and it may not be someone who has tangibly manifested themselves in my life that I could say, oh, that's John, or that's who, that's this. But there's a spirit form that I'm looking at. And a lot of times it's the collective spirit form. So when I did Friday's show, I'm collectively looking at the masses of people who are downtrodden and suffering in the muck and mire of their own doubt and guilt and refuse to get up from the ashes. So as I'm speaking, I'm picturing this giant getting up and shaking the ashes off, and as they're shaking and cracking the old dust and ashes off, there's a light that's shining through. That's what I'm envisioning in my mind. Okay, and for each one, there's, you know, I could go through each show. There's always some type of image that helps me to keep speaking and not run out of words. So the idea of devotion, which is a beautiful idea. In fact, when we're dealing with our spiritual systems, and not just spiritual systems, even what we call love, devotion is something that's hand in hand, that comes hand in hand, that we often profess, but is usually left out of the equation because we mistake it for other things. Without devotion, in fact, you gain no understanding of the actual spirit or of the actual relationship, you know. So many of us, like, we're called Abarisha, we're devotees of the Orisha. We're devoted to the Orisha. Now, I want you to understand something. Devotion does not mean coming under complete submission to the authority. It is submission, but it doesn't mean necessarily being regulated fully by the authority of that thing. In fact, once you come into a place of devotion, it really doesn't matter. You don't even care, and I'll explain why. Now, you have this concept of devotion, and then you also have this concept of faith, right? And I know you would say, well, they're like synonymous, practically, devotion and faith and devotion. In fact, they're almost antonyms. They're almost complete opposites, believe it or not. The only more perfected opposite to faith would be blind faith, which is usually, that's the investment that unfortunately most people make when it comes to their spiritual systems, or the way that they move through whatever they consider their devotion to be. It's blind. And the reason why so many people engage in blind faith is because they truly don't want to devote themselves to that thing. So it's easier to say, because faith requires intelligence. Okay, you have to have an intelligence of something in order to have faith in that thing. And even though faith is because people say it's the belief in the unseen, it's not. Faith and belief have nothing to do with each other. Nothing. That's a con game. Faith is a knowing in the unseen, but faith is also a knowing in the seen too. You know, it doesn't always have to immediately go to something that's blind or something that's invisible in order for you to signify that you have faith. Okay, but there's an intelligence that's there where I have a knowing of this thing. Now, in order to have an understanding of said thing, which most time is almost impossible, but in order to have an understanding or an experience of said thing, I have to be devoted to said thing. That's the tough part. I'll explain why it's the tough part, but I want to give you, so you understand the difference there between the faith and the blind faith. Okay, faith requires intellect. Blind faith is for the ignorant. I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want to know, but this is what we've always done. Well, don't you want to learn about what you've done? No, get out of here with that. That's the blind faith aspect. Okay. And blind faith most often is practiced by people who say they're devotees of something. See, this is why I'm using this word so you can see where it fits in. It's a very tricky word because a lot of people will follow something blindly, and what they'll do is they'll create the images and the costumery of a devotee without realizing, in truth, a true devotee has no costume. A true devotee has no image. And I'll get into why. Okay, so a person will say, yeah, man, you know, I hike 5 miles into the mountains and then I meditate for 4 hours, man, you know, just becoming one with myself or whatever. I'm devoted to my meditations. Okay. Or someone will tell you another system. Yeah, you know, I have a bar hanging in my doorway and I hang upside down on that every dawning, you know, because I'm devoted to my system or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And none of these exercises are related to devotion. They may be related to consistency. They may be related to ritual. They may be related to routine, but they have nothing to do with devotion. And remember, without devotion, you never come to an understanding. That's why people who are faithful people or people who are blind faithful people typically don't understand what it is that they're working on. That's why faith becomes so important to them. You got to have faith. Why do you have to have faith? Because you don't have a clue what you're doing. You don't have a clue as to why you're doing it. You have the intellect of that thing, but intellect does not give you understanding. It does not give you understanding, you know, because intellect is bringing it inside of myself and creating a structure inside of myself where I can say, I know this thing now. And knowing something doesn't necessarily tell me why it's happening or what the cause and the motivation for that thing actually is, just because I know it. For instance, yeah, you guys can do I'm not going to take away from your recap, but you guys can do the recap for the shows and you can do excellent recaps. Why did I do those shows? Why did I use the words that I used? Why did I use the background music that I used? Why did I play the songs that I used? Do you truly have an understanding of what it is that I'm saying to you? I know you don't. I know you don't. Now, of course, and I can hear the voices now. I know the ones who like to call and say, yeah, I understood, but you didn't understand. I know you didn't. You know, it's just like I've had people many times in the past say to me, man, you know this or you know that or whatever. And I wish I understood the things that you understood. And I always say, I would never want you to understand what I understand. Because to understand what I understand, you'd have to go through what I went through. And not just as it relates to studying and applying and doing experiments. You'd have to go through the life experience that I've gone through. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Not just because I have had a very hard life. Not just because of that, but because even if my life was easy, I wouldn't wish that on someone else. Because now it distorts whatever their understanding is supposed to be in the world. You see? So in order to really have understanding of a thing, you have to go through the experience that thing invites you to. That's the devotion. Going through the experience of something that something invites you to, it requires complete abstraction of self. You have to completely negate yourself in the scenario. Only a true devotee is completely negated in a certain experience. So let's say if I say I'm devoted to a child, right? Okay, I'll give you a good example. I remember years ago talking to a woman, and she was telling me about how when her children would, they would have a lot of congestion. This is in the islands, and she would suck the snot out of the child's nose, right, and spit it out, right? So of course, at the time, like, that's disgusting. I don't care if it's your child or not. That's another human, and they have the propensity to be disgusting and nasty. I don't care if you came out of me or not. I'm not, nasty. They make the little squeeze droppers. You just squeeze the stuff in there, pull the snots out. But one of the things you learn, if any of you have ever spent any time in the islands, people are not as dependent on things. There's a lot of ingenuity in the islands. I mean, even when you go to the continent, I remember being in East Africa one year and watching these brothers up in the mountains, these fabulous Ethiopians. I had to use my title again. They were building homes in the mountains, building them out of the side of rock, and they were using hand tools for the entire, drills. The first time I've ever seen someone actually use a hand drill, there's no electricity up there. So they're using drills and screws and everything and doing it all by hand, because they had to use whatever was there. They had to use the tools and the implements that were available to them, you see. So in the same instance, so she had shared that with me, right? Yeah, it's like snot. I said, okay, that's nasty, but hey, you be as nasty as you want to be. But lo and behold, years later, as an adult, I'm sucking snot out of my children's noses. Because when you're holding a baby, you don't see the thing, and they're in pain, and they can't get it out, and you're like, where the heck is that dry? Forget it. And you do it without even thinking. It takes someone else to say, hey, what you just do? Oh, I sucked the snot out of the baby's nose and, spit it into the sink. Huh? Well, we gotta go disinfect that sink, But so there's a devotion there where you lose your intellect, because my intelligence before, which is really my memory, my history, intelligence typically is just measured by your ability to memorize things and recite them. How much stuff can you memorize? How much stuff can we fit into the container? So my memory history says, no, that's disgusting, get the dropper. But my devotion to my job as a father, or my devotion to that child, says I'm not even thinking about it. I've completely lost myself in this moment. And that devotion comes from love. It comes from that connectedness. And once you become connected at that level, the lines between you and the other individual, or you and the other situation, they just meld together. So you become devoid, or as we say in our Yoruba, Oyeku Meji, the science of death. Oyeku means the spirit, the calling the spirits, or the mothers of death. So again, you have that aspect of the mothers there, but the mothers of death, what they do is they suck you down into the void, where you lose who and what you are. And you lose who and what you are in order for that experience to pass through you. You see, so for instance, if I open you up to an experience, or I open you up to a body of information, right? How do you come to understanding of it? You have to allow my words. You have to allow what is being channeled through me from on high, or from on low, or from on left, or from on right, because it comes from all different directions when I'm speaking. The same way I'm opening myself up and allowing myself not to be present, you have to allow the same thing to happen with you and allow it to flow through you. And when you allow it to flow through you, you devoid yourself, you see, or you devote yourself. But you completely devoid who and what you are. And then you allow that experience to flow through you. Allowing that experience to flow through you now gives you the wisdom of said thing. That's the only way we can come to the point of understanding. But knowing it and still coming back with, well, I'm this type of person. And yeah, or sometimes a lot of people will like listen to my segments. They'll say, well, you know, I listen to some of the stuff he says. The stuff I can use, I keep. The other stuff, you know, I leave it where it's at. And every time I hear that statement, I kind of laugh a little bit. I don't say anything about it, but these are people who they'll never understand what I'm saying. So you're collecting the knowledge, and maybe that's fine. Okay, collect the knowledge, but you're not going to get the good stuff. You're not going to get the good stuff until you become a devotee to the information. And I'm not urging all of you to become devotees to whatever it is that I'm saying, but you're going to find something, because you may not love me, right? But you're going to find something in someone that you love, and that's and when it's that true and authentic love, devotion is right there. So you're not thinking about agenda. You're not thinking about what I'm getting out of this. You're not even thinking about still being myself in this space. That's a common term that I hear so much when I'm working with different clients and doing counseling, especially with women. Women say this a lot. And a lot of times they have a fear that they're going to lose themselves in the relationship. You know, they're going to lose whatever they consider their identity to be, because maybe the man that they're dealing with, or usually not dealing with, but wanting to deal with, they're afraid that men may be a little bit too domineering or too controlling or have too much agenda, and say, well, listen, this is what I want you to be, this is what I need you to be. But then you have that other group of women that they love that. They love to be in the submissive space, where submission again means to come under the mission. They love a man with a plan and a mission, where they could say, yeah, I'm going to get under that and be the wind beneath your wings type of thing, you know? So there's different ways to approach it. And I'm not saying that if you have either mentality that you're wrong. What I'm saying, though, is that the mentality of being unable to completely give yourself to something, to completely lose yourself in something, having that mentality never allows you to get the understanding of that thing. You have to allow it to flow through you. I can show you a piece of fruit all day. I can. But until you ingest it and allow it to go, you know, some of you may have had this experience after fasting. You ever had a real good fast, and you know, you break your fast, and we all break our fast with different things. Like I got into breaking my fast with sauerkraut years ago. It's a good fast breaker. Some people use fruit, but sometimes the fruit, you know, I have to use non-sugary fruits. But you know, that first thing you eat, or let's say even when you're doing a juice fast, right, a green juice fast, and you run late on your juice for the dawning, and you know, normally maybe you have your first juice at 8, and you run late and you don't get it till like noon, because a lot of times when you're fasting, especially if it's a juice fast, you don't need as much. You know, you find you're just not hungry. But you know, when you drink that first one and you can literally feel it going throughout your body, you know, and you know, obviously it kind of doesn't make sense, you know, scientifically, but you drink it and then you start feeling these tingles. You feel like it's going through your veins, and you can almost feel like what it's doing in each part of your body. You see, you're allowing, because you've devoided this idea, you've denied yourself this idea of I got to eat all the time. Because for some of us, the most exciting thing we do all day is think about what we're going to eat next. Yeah, when I get home tonight, I'm going to fry up the days. And then tomorrow, I'm going to go buy the Jamba Juice. I'm going to get me a nice juice. And then for lunch, I'm going to go to that Thai spot. Every day is you know, the West is the only place where eating is a culture unto itself. Eating is its own culture. You know, so with that, you get it. That's the only thing you have to really look for throughout the day. What I'm going to eat next. You know, you leaving work and you putting stuff out to thaw, and yeah, I'm tear this up tonight. You know, so it's the same type of thing. But when you devoid that cycle, when you devoid what you consider to be your base needs as it pertains to that, then you start to give yourself over to the experience of the fast, or over to your experience of the consecration. And keep in mind that the word devote, it comes from the root of vow, meaning to consecrate. In the Sanskrit, it was vugat, and it means to consecrate, or vugat. meaning to consecrate. Okay, so giving yourself, consecrating yourself, or devoting yourself to a particular cause or a particular energy or a particular force, right, negates the self. That's the oyeko. That's going into the void. And once you, or the clip off, that side of the Kabbalic tree, the backside, the dark side. So once you go into that dark side, and I'm not Anakin Skywalker now, I'm Darth Vader. What happened to sweet little Anakin who liked to do the little race cars, the flying race cars? I'm Darth Vader now. You know, I kills, I cuts heads off, and I choke people with my fingers, pinching them. I'm Darth Vader. I've completely devoided Anakin so that I could have this energy of the darkness flow through me. This was the only way to do it, to get an understanding of both sides of this. You have to allow the flow, the channeling to come through you. If you don't allow that, you can never have understanding. This is why Oshun is so smart. We always associate Oshun energies with high intelligence. And that's why she protects the head of the conscious, because she represents that flow, just allowing, hey, come on, let's go. You know, that's why she has such hoish ways. Oh, Batala. Okay, let's see what that feels like. Get in me. Oh, Eshu. I never had a little Eshu thing. Come on, put it in. Oh, goon. Yeah. All right, big boy, let's go for a ride. You know, she understands these different vibrations and energies, and that's why Oshun represents nationalism and diplomacy. She understands the world energy because she allows them all to flow through her, and she flows through them. We all need water. Water get no enemy, right? Okay, so I just wanted to share that with devotion. And what's the nasty byproduct of devotion, right? That keeps us caught, that keeps us stuck. Addiction. Addiction is the poo-poo of devotion. Okay? And a lot of times we confuse addiction with devotion. You see? So we'll say like, oh baby, I loves you. You know, we do some Porgy, I love you. Bess, I love you. You know, and I gotta have you. I love you so much. I gotta have you. I'm here for you. You see how the word things get intertwined in there? Gotta have you. You know, that sounds like you talking about drugs. So what's the difference between something that you become addicted to and something that you become devoted to? The addiction is usually based on something that you're not completely allowing to take you over except for a moment. It's usually based on a substance, but that's the byproduct. So a lot of times the things that you become devoted to, opening yourself up and letting yourself, some people are devoted to meditation and they become addicted to meditation. They don't realize that the act was not really in the meditation. Meditation was just to open yourself up to allow whatever energy you're channeling to come through you. Okay, and some people lose sight of that, and now they become addicted to the substance. The substance is meditation, but the source and the core was whatever it was that you were channeling that could come through any source. You see, so a lot of times for some of us moving forward, we're talking about again the things that are holding us back. Some of us moving forward, we may say, "Well, man, I got food addictions. Yeah, I'm addicted to sugar. Addicted to sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is." Because even in the conscious community, this is very present. Again, a lot of times we don't talk about the mental and emotional sickness because it's hard to find a place to resolve it when someone's just like, well, you know, you just need a fast. You know, I heard someone give someone advice for that once, to go on a 30-day raw fast. They were addicted to cocaine. And the person advised to do a 30-day raw food fast. And I was like, okay, that helps, you know. But let's really deal with the source where this addiction began at. What was this individual trying to allow to pass through them? And when they are dealing with cocaine, what do they feel like they're channeling? We got to go to the source. The byproduct, or the number two, or the poo-poo, the waste product, is that addiction. You see? And most of the time because the devotion wasn't pure. You see? There was still underneath there, you see, things find a way to hide within your subconscious. But underneath there was this little seed of agenda. there was this little seed of wanting people to know and see that I'm a devotee. Look at me. Look at, look at what I got on. Look at what I'm wearing. Look at how I talk like this. So I'm a devotee of meditation. You see, because only someone who would be devoted to meditation would talk with this many pauses and hold my S's like this. You see, the vestiges and the costumery of a devotee, that's bullcrap. Those people, they represent the Kali Yuga. That's the age of ignorance. They don't know anything. Nothing. Trust me on that one. Because when you devote yourself to something and you totally negate yourself, you lose all of that cool, conscious personality. It's not even present. You become so flexible like a snake or like water because you've allowed something to flow through you. In order to do that, you have to break yourself. Like they used to say back in the days, the gang, break yourself, fool. You have to break yourself. You have to totally bend and bow. Ballet. This is why we do ballet in the Yoruba custom. You see, we break ourselves. We bow even in martial arts. I'm breaking my sword to allow this force and this energy to flow through me. You see. And once I do that, that's why you find some of the deepest people don't look so deep. They're not walking around with crystals strapped to their forehead and cowrie shells all over their ankles and wearing white every day and giving you these long salutations that you don't even understand what the heck they're saying. They always try to find some language that no one speaks, and they sit there with a smile and say, hey, get out of here with that nonsense. They have the vestiges and the costumery of a devotee, but they're not really a devotee, because a devotee is flexible. It's flexible. So when they're around people who may not understand what it is that they're channeling through them, their flexibility allows all energies to be channeled through them and sent right out. There was a guy I used to do work with years ago, Mike. Well, we called him White Boy Mike. Don't get offended, Caucasians listening. This was the name that he preferred, White Boy Mike. And that's because I had a cousin named Mike. So somebody had to get the addendum. So White Boy Mike was like, yo, I'm White Boy Mike, because my cousin was Black Mike. But we didn't call him Black Mike. We just called him Mike. And I remember one time, this is many years ago, in the 80s, we had to go to Harlem for something. And somehow we got stranded. Car broke down or something, so we called White Boy Mike, who at the time lived in New Jersey in a hick town. He's like, yo, you can come get us, man. We stuck, car, boom, boom. So he comes through and gets lost in Harlem. Now, this is Harlem in the 80s, though. It's not like what you guys see now with Starbucks and Applebee's and stuff like that, and all the streets renamed Malcolm X. It wasn't that, So he gets down there, and he's in a pickup on top of that, really White Boy Mike. He's in a pickup truck. So when we see him, we finally get, because again, it's not the age of cell phones. This is pay phones, no GPS and all of that stuff. We just got to find each other, So we finally catch up to him, and he's got all his dirt on his face and his hat backwards. And I was like, what happened? What are you doing? I've been thinking he got beat up. He was like, man, I didn't know this is the type of place I was coming to. He was like, I didn't know it was like that down here. He said, man, these guys came up to my car and stuff, man. I thought they was going to jump in the back. He was like, so I went into my ashtray. I had some butts in there, and I rubbed the cigarette the cigarette ashes all over my face and turned my hat backwards. I was like, for what? That was supposed to be blackface? Now I'm ready to punch him in his face. I'm like, what? It was supposed to be blackface? He was like, nah, man, I just wanted to look crazy. He's like, I figured if I just did this, I don't know, I would just blend in. Now he's really saying the environment look, which it did. The environment looked crazy, but that's White Boy Mike. He had that flexibility. White Boy Mike is now a yogi. Who would have known, right? Biggest pothead I knew. Matter of fact, one of his other names was Mr. Weed. I think I gave him that nickname, Mr. Weed. So all he wanted to do was smoke, you know, and that's why he was so anxious to come down. He's like, yeah, I can get some smokes, you know, some herb. But now he's a yogi. See the flexibility in that, you know. I can become the void in my environment and allow the environment to flow through me, so that way I can understand the environment. And then I have the flexibility and the resilience to rise from the ashes, I mean, no pun intended, and become that shiny new thing again. Now I have an understanding of it. You see? It's just I don't know, it's just it's a weird story. But just to give you a small example of that. So the devotion to flexibility, the devotion to resilience, though it still may create a byproduct of addiction, if you're a person who's constantly coming up and growing and renewing yourself like the Bennu bird, then the addictions can no longer target you. They have nothing to do with you. They have to do with the old man, the shell that you left in the flames. You see? I mean, last I heard, I don't think Mike smokes weed anymore. I haven't been in touch with those guys in many, many years. But, you know, flexibility allows you to go through different things. All right. So that has been our insight for this Sunday. I want you guys to think about devotion. And if you're truly devoted to your practices, are you truly allowing your practices to take over you? And are you submissive to them? Or do you still have that conscious, I take what I need, I throw away the rest? Well, if you were that smart to do that, you would never need them to begin with. If you had that much intelligence and that much knowing and understanding inside of you, I mean, a child would say the same thing. I eat the macaroni and cheese and I throws away the rest. Wouldn't a child do that every night? You give them something to eat. I eats the fruit cup and I throws away the lima beans. You see? I drink the salad. I mean, I drink the soda, I throws away the salad. I eat the croutons and the bacon bits off the salad, throw the rest away. So just like a child has no knowledge or wisdom to conduct what their diet should be, they have to let it flow through them so they can become strong and understand this is why you don't eat candy every day. See how your stomach hurts now and you can't go to the bathroom and all of that? And now we got to do the old Jamaican thing. We got to put the candle in your butthole so you can, you know, we can release that constipation. Some of you may know about that, putting the wax in there. This is why you have to have that understanding of why you eat lettuce, why you eat kale, why you eat callaloo. You know, yeah, we know you like the ackee more than the callaloo, but the ackee doesn't have the nutrients that the callaloo has. This is why you do that. Let it flow through. You see how strong you feel now? You see? True devotion. All right. I'm going to take some calls now. I'm going to thank you all for listening. I said it was going to be a short devotion, and it wasn't a short devotion. And I still had more to say. But maybe next strong. I'm going to take a call at this time from our 862 area code on high frequency. 862, you're on Chief Speaks.
Peace, Chief. Good morning.
Peace. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm hearing a feedback.
Yeah, we were hearing that before, and I don't know why. I'm not sure why you're hearing the feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's got something to do with us plugging into so many networks at one time. I think the networks are kind of feeding back on each other.
New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening earlier when you were talking about the parents who used to the phlegm from the baby's nostril.
Yeah.
And I remember receiving it, and I remember also doing it.
Mm.
And it was kind of ironic that you would say that, because when I saw someone else do it as a child, I was like, ew.
Yeah, it's mortifying. Yeah.
Right. But that action alone was the precursor to the I can't call it. I don't think it's the thing that the mother pulled this out of the nose.
The suction cup, the little plastic thing with the tube, and they stick it in there. Right.
Because the first person who did it to me was my father, and he never swallowed it. He got it where it moved.
Right.
It's similar to like when
siphoning
I don't
gas.
know if you've done it before. I've heard you talk about your cars.
Mm-hmm.
So you broke down one time, and you probably had to siphon your gas.
Oh yeah, you get a little gas in your mouth and you spit it out, but now you got the gas flowing. Yeah.
About it, baby's phlegm versus gas.
Right.
We've been creating. Come on, Chief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, our ingenuity abilities have always been present, but we never recognize it as it was practical, but it also had a deeper meaning or a deeper use.
Right.
So moving into devotion, my lesson in devotion has kind of trial and error at different times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my parents being devoted to us as children and trying to teach us lessons, and of course we didn't want to listen. And my father used to say, you know, bend a tree while it's young.
Right.
And he used to say, you know, you're going to grow, you'll see. You know, this is one of them old Jamaican things. It's like, you see. So I'm in the process now where I'm seeing it, and I'm trying to send that same message out to the generation. And it's difficult, but I also know it's part of my devotion.
Right. Right.
And it could be also a traumatic thing because I'm getting back what I put out.
Mm-hmm.
Exponentially, though.
Right. Planting those seeds.
So, right. So my thing is, I knew like 10 or 15 years ago that I was standing in the gap of generation between my parents and children's generation. You know, I think you and I had spoken. You know the field that I'm in. I do what you today.
Right.
And I think that all what's against these kids right now is so heavy, even the average could not manage if they were the
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm trying to remain devoted, but at the same time, tired.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, my devotion purpose, I think, is connected, and I know definitely when it comes to my own offspring, it's connected. I want to break the. But I'm also still trying to see if my devotion to what I do every day, is it what my higher self needs? Because I'm tired.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I'm going to address that.
I'm getting down and dirty.
Mm-hmm.
But getting down in this devotion thing. Trying to, you know, stand in the gap and get them to understand, but man, tiring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to address that. I'm going to put you on mute so we can get rid of the echo. And
Thank
I'm going to
you. No problem.
No problem. All right. So in case anyone missed any of that, because I know she was kind of coming in and out a little bit, she was saying that she's devoted to a certain cause in terms of helping young people, but she's finding that level of devotion, it's tired. She's getting tired. It's wearing her out to the point that she's having to question herself and say, you know, should I keep doing this? Can I keep doing this? And the thing is, very important to know is that typically we devote ourselves to something so that we won't get worn out. So when you're getting worn out like that, is because you're not in the flow. That's you're committed. And what you may be committed to may be a sentimental cause. But it's not necessarily because devotion, again, let's say if I surrender and give myself to a river, what do I really have to do? Nothing. Just sit there and float. Wherever the river is going to take me is going to take me. Now, might it bang me up against a couple of rocks? Absolutely. I might get ran across some jagged rocks and, you know, banged up against a couple of things, but I'm not actually exerting myself. You know, it's very similar. And like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I used to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu many years ago. And I always loved the art form. I said, I will do this until I die, because I like strategy, and it's very chess-like. You know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like playing chess. You know, it's not like boxing. I mean, boxing, there's still a science to it, but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you get more time to rest and figure out what you want to do. And I used to always teach my students. Later, when I eventually, you know, received all my belts and was qualified to teach, I figured out something, because I was always kind of a big guy, pretty strong, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has nothing to do about that. I used to get on the mat and have 70-year-old, 160-pound men throw me on my neck. You know, so it has nothing to do with your strength. And I figured out that if you're using, the formula I used to say is 75% technique, 25% strength. And if you're using more than 25%, you're doing something wrong. Now, you imagine that in our spiritual work and in our communal work, if we could say I'm putting forth only 25% of my vigor, and the rest of it is just coming from technique, which is really the flow, accepting, submitting to the intellect and the wisdom that I have in me and I have around me. So a lot of times that fatigue in our work comes from us being allegiant and committed to something that is no longer a part of the flow. The flow is an energizing thing. It will sustain you through and through. It's one of the reasons why the show changes so much. I know it feels like every 3 months, we got new changes coming. Because the flow is changing. I'm changing. You know, everyone who's in the ANU family is changing. We're all changing. So we can't stay committed and dedicated to a flow that no longer is active and working for us. Because what happens is that when you stay in something or with something beyond its season, it begins to punish you for that. It's like staying at a job too long. That's when you get hurt on a job. I mean, for some, that's what they want. But, you know, you staying in a certain place and aiming at a certain target, you've been aiming at that target for too long. That's what the problem is. The target has shifted. And that's especially true when we talk about helping the youth. That's a tricky one. It's very tricky. I'll give you an example. I went to an event yesterday, and I was sharing with the family. You know, I went solo. And it was really just to support. It's a drum and dance troupe that we have out here, and well, one of them, and we have a lot of them. And you know, they're youth based, and periodically I'm always seeing their like newsletters and stuff. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go support them. I'm gonna go give them some money. So I went, jumped in my car, and drove out there, and it was like the turnout was just pitiful, and even like there were vendors there, what they were selling was ridiculous. And I'm looking and it was a good lesson for me, because I'm watching this and I'm saying, what young person would be interested in this? They were selling like leather, red, black, and green kufis. I'm like, who's gonna wear that? You know, even me, I'm out of I don't have my finger on the pulse anymore of fashion like I used to when I was younger, because the pulse has gotten a little weird to me. You know, the tight jeans and the tight suits and it's just tight, and you know, that kind of shied me away. So I had to admit, okay, well, you know, some of this you're gonna have to back up from, and you're gonna have to go for more the distinguished older man look now, because you know, obviously you're not gonna wear leotards. I seen guys on the train wearing leg warmers and Ugg boots. You know, that's also a thing. I can't do that. You know, I won't do that. Let me put it that way. So I'm looking at this. So even me, who I would say I'm older now, and you know, and somewhat taken away from what's the hottest thing, I'm looking at this saying, I wouldn't wear that. I'm not, you know, some of the stuff, how many kente cloth bow ties are you going to sell? You know, we all don't want to wear kente cloth bow ties, you know. So sometimes we don't realize that, like I said, the target has changed, and what you consider to be the hot thing at one point is moved now. Sometimes we're just too devoted to old stuff that's just not relevant anymore. It's not going to move them. You know, we're not going to be able to get all the youth with just telling them that they're the greatest and they're special and they built this. That's not going to cut it. They already know that they're the greatest. They know that. Now, are they basing it on the right things? No. But they do feel like I'm the best. I got a black president. You know, so that by itself, the truth is they got too much self-esteem. Honestly, they got a lot of self-esteem for actually doing nothing in life. And some of that is because we praise them too much. You are the this, you are the, no, you ain't none of that. Prove yourself. I'll give you the opportunity to prove yourself. You know, so sometimes what we're using as fodder for encouragement is a little off. That's part of the issue. You know, so we're aiming at ghost and wondering why we're not able to affect any real change in the youth and whatnot. And it's because we're aiming at the wrong place. The truth is, you know, we're just aiming at the wrong place. They're just not interested. You know, for conscious movements now, there's got to be a high degree of technology infused. You got to have 3D holograms and virtual reality. You know, you want to teach them about Kemet? Have somebody write up a amazing virtual reality program. Maybe you can get it into your local mall, because you know malls got these 3D virtual reality. What they call it 7D. Some of them 7D rooms you can go in and have this whole virtual like Total Recall experience. You know, so with that, you know, you think somewhat about what our children are seeing now, and like Sister Kim and I always say, what's out there is more attractive, is more interesting, it's more engaging than your drum class and your dance class and you telling me about me building a pyramid. It's just not as interesting as it used to be. Things have shifted. So, you know, just something for you all to think about, especially those of you who are facing a lot of frustration with your families or your youth, and seems like you're having trouble pulling them in. The truth is, like, even, or you know, I have a friend, he's always giving out these lectures, like, yeah, I ran off copies of this DVD to give to these young cats. I'm like, listen, they don't call themselves cats anymore, number one. Number two, nobody has DVD players. Number three, who wants to sit and listen to a lecture for 4 hours? This is a new day. The attention span of the average person doesn't go beyond 3 minutes. If you watch the movie The Secret, there was no segment in it that lasted longer than 2.5 minutes. They were just constantly jumping. And when they designed The Secret, I was reading something that's very interesting. They designed that movie The Secret that, you know, was a huge hit. A bunch of Rosicrucians in there. Nothing's wrong with that, though. But it was designed for people who had adult attention deficit disorder. That's how they formatted The Secret, for people with adult attention deficit disorder. So that's almost like saying, like, they just said automatically, all of you got ADD. So we're just, from here on out, we're just going to design all of our stuff just based on you having ADD. We're just going to assume you got it. No one has an attention span anymore. So, you know, you consider that even when you're trying to work with young people, you know. I could say a lot about that, but I'm going to go to the next call. 718 area code. Echo. You're on Chief Speaks. Maybe I'll come back. 718. Okay, I think 718 listened to 2 different shows at one time. Talk about attention deficit disorder. I think 718 is listening to 2 different shows at one time. So yeah, you know, it's just something to consider, you know, in terms of your work and again what you're devoted to. Again, devotion is allowing a flow to go through you. And when you allow that flow to go through you, in truth and in fact, what really occurs and what really happens is that you're reinvigorated, you're recharged. And it's not to say that this work can't be a tiring work, because it can be. You know, it's not easy. And no one said it was going to be easy. And nothing usually worth having is easy to obtain. But certainly it's not. It doesn't have to be backbreaking unless you want it to be backbreaking. And your tiredness or your fatigued or your exhaustion is not evidence of your devotion. Okay? It's evidence that you look like a devotee, but it's not evidence of your actual devotion. Because again, your actual devotion would, you know, especially like, for instance, when we have organizations with older people, you know, one of the biggest challenges is They don't allow any new young ideas to come in. They're always very suspicious of young people. You see that often, especially with some of our indigenous organizations. And you're looking at them like, man, you got some good stuff here. You have the information. Maybe you grew up in that organization, and you try to bring something new. Don't come in here with all that hip hop. And you're like, no, this is a spoken word poem. So you find that in the church, you find that in the temples, you find it in the mosque. A lot of times those who have held power for a very long time, they have a lot of trouble moving out of the way, allowing for another voicing to come through, you see. And that's one of our huge challenges that we got to get past if we really want to grow and expand, because understand that whatever new or hot thing is happening or coming out is because that's what the spirit and the force is inspiring to come out. When you see all of these different movies come out and things like that, people are not that creative. They're channeling those energies and those forces for those vibrations to come through. You see? So you gotta be ahead of that curve. If you really want to do something effective, you gotta be ahead of that curve. Because some of this stuff that we're doing, I'm telling you, it's going to phase out. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. It's going to phase out. Some of this stuff is not as interesting as you think it is. That's why a lot of the divine and celestial principles have been completely humanized. And there's a reason behind that some of you will probably hate to hear and think I'm crazy when I say it, but I'm going to have to say it to you. And then if you don't get it today, you'll get it later, because you're going to see it. The reason why so many celestial principles are humanized and heroized, if that's a word, to the degree that they are, like I say, yeah, people act like Orishas are superheroes. Because spirits are boring as I don't know what. They're boring. They celebrate a lot, but they're boring. So ultimately, what that means is your idea of heaven is a boring place. It's boring. I mean, even Biggie Smalls wrote about that many years ago as a youth. He want to be up there with the angels and stuff. He'd be bored. And it's true. Heaven is a boring place. That's why spirits always want to come. When you have a bembe, what do? They come and they start dancing and drinking and squeezing and groping people, because where they're at is boring. This is the place where things are exciting, because this is the place where there's desire, you see. And desire is the root and source of suffering. Desire is the root and source of emotions. You desire something. So what is the byproduct? Emotions. So the thing is, the emotions and the desire and anything in the struggle makes life exciting. The diversity makes life exciting. This desire and this movement towards love is a desire and a movement towards connectedness or oneness, which is boring. It's boring. I'm telling you. So when you're constantly trying to reinvigorate the youth that are around you, or bring them into this knowledge and this wisdom, by giving them all of this celestial principle, you're boring them. You're boring the mess out of them. Because they've gotten further and further and further away from their divinity. You see, they've gotten very far away from their divinity. So the further away from their divinity, the further away from boringness they're going to get. Why do you think the world looks so crazy right now? Even in small towns, it's crazy. That's the excitement of humanity. You see? So if you want to bring young people in, you have to infuse and speak to that. You got to speak to that excitement. It's not like years ago, we talk about all these mass movements back in the days, right? Yeah, well, for one, they weren't mass movements. It just looks like that. That's why whenever you see footage of the marches and stuff, it's always the same reel. Same footage. Because there wasn't that much of that happening. But the thing is, it wasn't that much to do back then. You didn't have as much to do. Yeah, we had better morals. We had this, that. And the reason why the moral structure and code and the families are more in place because people didn't have as many distractions. Now we have an environment that's like hyper stimulated. So you're going to come from this excited hyper stimulation. You're going to come from that space and then try to bring this boring celestial information. It's not going to work, man. I'm telling you, you want to understand it? Go look at some of the churches are doing now, the Christian churches. You'll figure it out. They don't even wear suits anymore. You know, like pastors are buff. You know, they coming out with all these muscles and stuff. And yeah, let's worship the Lord. You know, it's like WWE. I feel the spirit of the Lord in here. Kicking the freaking podium over and into the audience, stage diving. You know, so it's a totally different thing now. And that's because, I mean, you preach the same message for 300 years. You're going to have to mix it up at some point. You know, all right, he saved us. He saves. He's there for us. He loves us. We can feel his love. All right. What else you got? You know, so, but the thing is, they're bringing in the young people. The music is different and hip and all that. I'm using the term hip, but you know, and all of the other good stuff. So sometimes you got to listen to these young people and ask them what they actually want. Ask them why they don't want to go to the International Arts Festival with you. Don't you want to go and look at Cowrie Shell earrings and you know, Sister Ma'at's shea butter? Don't you want to get some of Sister Ma'at's shea butter? You know, and brother Quadro's black soap and drums and no, I don't. I want to go to the mall to the 7D store and have a virtual reality experience. That's what I want to do. I want to do the virtual reality one where they give me a gun and I'm killing people overseas. That's interesting to me. So you got to learn how to infuse stuff, man. Stop being so afraid to change all the time, you know. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna close out a little early, unless Sister Kim, you have a comment.
I kind of I'll say something, and it just adds on to what you were saying about we got to stay relevant. I think a lot of times part of that is because we're just catching up at 40 or 30. You know, we're just coming into the information, so it's all new to us. And we get excited about it, and so we want to pull other people in. And I see that so much with some of the conscious events where you got, like you said before, 40-year-old rappers rapping about 50 years.
But yeah, 40 is bad too, but I said 50.
They couldn't make it earlier, so they reliving this thing of being a rapper. And the only people out there listening are other 40 and 50-year-old people. None of the kids are listening to it. And sometimes people just expect you to support just because it's conscious, not because it's good, but it's like, well, I'm doing something. Or even like you were saying about the products and things that we sell. I think it's just coming from that culture of consumerism. So it's like no, I'm not just selling, you know, blank books or whatever, but this book is wrapped in kente cloth. Or this is African-centered
Bible
pen. Yeah. Bible cover. Yeah, it's got mud. So it's like we're just buying junk. And I think that like one good idea that we've spoken about before, your conscious events need to possibly be more around recycling things that we need. Like let's sell, like you said, sell some battery. Solar panels. You know, things like that to help us actually get off the grid, or if that's you know, whatever that we can actually use instead of just buying more junk. Because essentially that's what it is. How many, like you said, how many blood cloth skirts do I need? Or you know, whatever. It's just like you said, we can't get out of this old mindset. We're just coloring everything African.
Right.
You know, we have our church programs, but we're gonna make like the African version. you know. So yeah, I think we just got to kind of brainstorm. And then again, too, we have to ask ourselves, are we really invested in our children? Or are we just trying to, like you said, trying to pull them into the old ways? Because that's part of the reason why we can't pull them in, is because we don't really have any they're doing. We're not going into 7, like you were saying, these virtual reality stores, checking it out. We look at them like, I don't do that. Ain't nobody, that's too much. We're not in there really. We're trying to bring back years. like So are we really trying to save them, or are we just trying to push our agenda on them? You know what I mean? So, that's kind of what I.
Excellent comment. I mean, it speaks to devotion, or it speaks to addiction. Are we addicted to the 80s and 90s and 70s consciousness? Mm-hmm. Or are we devoted to sharing, offering, and giving the consciousness that we have by any means necessary, or any means available to us? And if you're committed to that, just like you have people who are committed to their religions or committed to their gods, and they're completely devoted, they become whatever they need to be in order to win people over to that cause. And that doesn't mean you making a fool out of yourself and be trying to be something that you're not, but it may certainly mean opening yourself up to new kinds of information and new kinds of experiences, and definitely new kinds of understandings. Like if you're looking at some of those things and you're seeing that all the young people are like doing it, and you're saying, it's too much, like you said, maybe you need to go try it out. Mm-hmm. So that way you'll have an understanding of exactly what it is that's pulling them in. And again, I'm not giving the preacher hype where they say, well, no, the reason I'm wearing all these diamonds and I'm driving this Bentley is because I know that's what our people are into, and that will attract their eye, and then they'll come and listen to the message. Yeah. I'm not saying that type of thing, but certainly we should make some moves towards just understanding the people who we're saying that we're trying to save. If that's what you're trying to do. I'm not trying to save anybody. So I'll make it clear to you. I can't really save anybody. I can empower you to save yourself. You got to be your own Messiah. You got to be the self-savior. My work is about empowering you, but you got to make the decision, because I don't want to yank anybody and bring them up to a level that they're not supposed to be. They're going to cause a mess. They're not supposed to be there. They're going to cause trouble. So you earn your way there, and then you appreciate your time there. So even when it comes to young people, I don't just jump in their face and say, you're the greatest. I don't know if you're the greatest. You can show me, but you may not care to show me. And it's you got to sometimes go beyond the apparent too. It's a genetic thing. Some people are going to want to achieve and do right when others just are not. That's just not what they came here for. So you have the spiritual genetics you got to pay attention to. But as long as you hold the gate in the vanguard, then you're giving people a place and an option and something to resolve to, which is the most important thing. You got to give them, it's got to be more than just your stories and your pats on the back. You got to give them something to resolve to. All right, we're going to take another call real quick. I think I remember this call. 816 area code. You on Chief Speaks?
Peace, Chief.
Peace. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, things are all right.
Okay, good. And good dawning, Sister Kim.
Greetings.
Good dawning. I was calling in because I have several people who are new listeners that called in today. I believe that they're listening. I'm not for sure. But I did let them know what was going on. So before you were closing out, I was hoping that you could possibly just give out all the information for them to be able to, for all of us to be able to connect with you on the YouTube station and on the website, and just, that type of recapping. And then also I was the one that got cut off last week at the end of the segment.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was you.
Didn't get. Yeah, it's me. I was gonna ask too. I haven't checked I can check the archives. I don't need to ask because I guess it'll show up there on the archives. I haven't went back to check on it. What happened? But
wait, all this time you haven't gone back to listen to what we talked about last Strong?
I did go, and it wasn't showing up. I went several times. I went on the high frequency side. I went on the enlightenment and transformation side, and it would not show up. It would show up past shows. So for some reason, it wouldn't connect me right away. But throughout the week, I've been listening to your other shows because I listen on the YouTube station. I get the notifications that you're on, so then I just listen to those throughout the week.
I ain't buying it, but okay. I ain't buying that.
I do. And I share on Facebook. That's how come I know I think I have some people that, have texted me and let me know, oh, okay, I'm listening. Oh, okay, well, like someone said, well, how do you spell Oshun? And, stuff like that. So I do know that there's some people listening that I've put on to you. So that's what I was.
That doesn't let you off the hook, though, for not listening. That doesn't let you off the hook. And,
I will go back and listen.
I hear you.
I will go back and listen.
You will. There we go.
But now listen.
No.
Yes, I will.
Okay. So Oshun is Oshun, but that's not really the right spelling. It's really Osun. But you can find out. Yeah, you can find out Orisha religion on our site, orishareligion.com. And that gives you a lot of, I meant to say Orisha information on orishareligion.com. Spellings and everything, associations, all that other good stuff. Also, my book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Easy to find because nobody else would put such a long title on a book, like I did, foolishly. But I wanted you guys really to grasp the root of divine power. But like I said, I should just named it Grasping Power or something like that. It would have been easier to speak. But that gives you the Orisha breakdowns and a lot of breakdowns, just the basics of how do you start to approach the spirituality, how do you build a shrine, and different baths you can do, different incense you can make, home cleanse, stuff like that. It's a bunch of stuff in that book for beginners. And as far as contact, because we don't really play the commercials like we used to. I got to start doing that, which gave you all the contact information. But like for classes, if you want to learn, you go to saduluhouse.com, which is SADULUHOUSE.com, saduluhouse.com. For the YouTube channel is Enlightenment and Transformation TV. So it's youtube.com/Enlightenment and Transformation TV. And of course the Blog Talk channel is the same thing, blogtalkradio.com/Enlightenment and Transformation. What else? There's a bunch of stuff. I don't know. We got so much stuff going on. Oh, for like products, if you need like ritual products and stuff like that, alphaomegastore.com, ALPHAOMEGASTORE.com. We do monthly webinars too. You can find that on Sadula House. Why are you making all that noise in the background? What's all that chipping?
That's the rain falling down on the window, I guess.
Isn't that just romantic? It's the rain. That's the rain, I guess, just falling down and trickling down my garter belt. Yeah, whatever. So, back to my information piece. Yeah, it sounds like you're on a CB radio back there. So, you drive trucks? You a trucker?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I got a friend who just finished trucking school. I was gonna link you two up together. But so let me see. What was that? The school? Yeah, the store, the school. But if you go to anunation.org, ANUNATION.org, you can get the links to where everything is at. We try to keep that as a central hub, which we're redoing that site over anyway because it needs to be updated. Everything needs to be updated, but those are the links you can go to and get more stuff. And enlightenmentandtransformation.com is the site for the radio show too. So if you want to read some of the blog posts that we write and some of the, like just get more information on the shows and different topics, you can go over there to enlightenmentandtransformation.com. All right. So there's your rundown. Was there anything I think that's you popping gum. That's what it sounds like. So is there anything else you wanted to ask me?
I'm not popping any gum. I guess I was just gonna ask. Did when we got cut off, did that cut off the segment, or was there something more that? Oh yeah, I was getting ready to kick it up. I was talking about something else, but it doesn't matter because you didn't go back and listen anyway. So why would I keep talking about it? I'm gonna go with it. Okay. Well, I am gonna go with it. As everyone knows, when you give, I give. So you could at least give your attention to the archive. And once you do that, process it, apply some of the things that I told you. Because even without listening to the archives, I gave you some things to apply. So, Yeah, I ain't just going to keep speaking till I'm blue in the face just because you like to be serviced. You, Chief. I do. I appreciate you. Yeah, I know. Y'all all say that. For me, just past strong. So I really appreciated being able to talk to you. And, like I said, some good things really happened, and I'm definitely going. Come on, what's up with all this noise? Okay, that's good. Oh, that was you. Okay, I'll let you go. Yeah, that was Kim, huh? All right, that wasn't your fault, 816. But okay, thank you for your call either way. Okay. Thank you very much. Peace. Hey, y'all just playing around today, huh?
No, that was mine. Somebody was closing the door.
Mm-hmm. Don't be blaming people. Don't be blaming nobody. The door should have been closed. Then you wouldn't have had that problem. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Okay. That's one of my elders used to say that. No matter what would happen, he would always say that. Well, what happened? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, boy. Okay. That had nothing to do with what's going on right now, but you my elder. I'll take it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to go to the 356. Take it. Yeah, I certainly am your elder. I certainly am. And as a man, I'm so glad that we age like wine. So yeah. Next caller. Just getting better and better. He's just getting better and better. Because some people age like milk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 352 area code. You on Chief Speaks. 352. Why does everybody sound so low today? Yeah, you notice that? I can barely hear. Oh, you know what? That's a little better. I don't know if it's our end or if it's your end, but yeah, everybody was low today. But okay, I can hear you better now. Okay, how's everyone doing today? We're all right. I'm all right. Okay. Speaking for myself. Good. I am a new listener, and I was listening to the previous call, and I wanted to. Can you give me the name of the book? Okay, one of them is Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Yeah. If you go to there's other books. If you go to alphaomegastore.com and you click the link for books, then you can see the different books up there. I have some more coming out too. I'm trying to get them out before the end of the year, but they'll be there anyway. But if you go there, then you can see the whole listing of books as well as descriptions of them. Okay, and you did again say Alpha Omega Books? AlphaOmegaStore.com. I'm sorry, Alpha Omega Store. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this was the book that you mentioned for beginners. My situation right now is for a very long time, I've been going through different things, out-of-body experiences, et cetera, and I'm at this time in my life trying to really, really grasp the full concept of who I am spiritually. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. Okay. Okay. And that's basically where I am.
right now.
Yeah.
In my life. So anything that, you know, that I can do and things that I can lead to assist me with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, two things.
The full self is,
well, there's three things.
My
Your
goal
development. No problem. Three things I'm going to say. Well, actually, let me say this before I say those three things. We're going into archives in about 5 minutes, everyone. So if you're not called in, I suggest you call in, or you just have to come back and listen to the rest of this later. And we have a couple more calls on the air, callers, that I'm going to try to get to. So we're going to go over. So for everybody calling, everybody listening online, if you call 347-945-7680, you'll be able to listen after the archive. You know, you can stay connected. Now, back to you. So you're starting, I would say three things. One, you're never going to be able to understand your spirit totally. So stop trying to do that. That's a waste of time. What you can do is come to experience your spirit totally. Okay. So
and that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Well, thank you. So I would say that related to what we were talking about today in terms of devotion, right? Your devotion to your spirit is that flow through. And when you allow it to flow through you, you can experience it, but you don't understand. I mean, you're using the term spirit. We don't even know that's the right name, you know, so you never really gonna understand, but we know what we feeling, and like, okay, well, whatever you call it, this is what it felt like, you know? So that's the first thing I would say to you. Open yourself up to experiencing those things and see how spirit flows through many different things. Anything that is condensed and materialized in the physical world is a condensation or a slowing down of a spiritual high vibratory energy. So this spirit, or what we call ashe, in everything, you know, so it's more than just even learning your spirit, you know, and we're reflections. So you want to learn your light spirit, you want to learn your dark spirit. You know, that symmetry is important to understand both aspects of that. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing is, yes, the book would be good for you, Grasping the Root of Divine Power, because it's a good primer. But it also has some advanced stuff in there. So like most people who use that book, they tell me they kind of use it as their reference. So yeah, it got them started, but then they keep it and they constantly going back when they're doing rituals, because there's a lot of like affirmations in there that you can use for different energies, what offerings to use, what stones to use, all that type of stuff. So you kind of almost use it like a reference book as well. That's one thing. The other thing, the third thing was you might want to join our new spiritual training, which is my class, which you can find at saduluhouse.com, SADULUHOUSE.com. That is for the same thing, trying to come to a place of understanding. My teaching and my classes are more purpose and I would say soul oriented. I'm gonna use the term soul. We say ori. You'll understand what that means later after you read the book. So for now, we'll just say soul. But really defining and discovering what you're supposed to do in life is more what I focus on, more than like learning a bunch of gods and stuff like that. So though I teach you about the gods, but the focus is really, what God are you? You know, what's your mythology? What are we going to read about you doing? You know, how many seven-headed hydras are you going to slay? You know, so I would say those would be good and excellent starts for you.
90 seconds.
Oh, 90 seconds.
Okay, great.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
I won't hold you any longer because I do know that you're trying to take other calls, but I will definitely go to both of these sites and we shall speak again.
All right. Beautiful. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. You as well.
All right. Okay. She was a nice caller. I like that. She said, I know you have people on the air. People don't normally do that. They just keep going and going. I said,
60 seconds.
60 seconds. That was nice of her. All right. So now we're going to go to 716 area code. 716, you're on Chief Speaks.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi. I was wondering what insight you had or what video you could direct me to where I could get an understanding of the idea where things that happen to you are supposed to happen to you or were meant to happen to you.
The connectedness of things. Okay, give me an example.
Like if you were molested as a child.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Right. So we're not just talking about you ran into somebody on the street and said, oh,
10 seconds.
I was just thinking about you. What you doing here? You're talking about the families that you were born into. If everything happens for a reason, what was the reason that I was born into this rotten situation? That's what you're referring to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've addressed this on a lot of different shows. Maybe Sister Kim, can you think of one specifically that zeroes right in on that?
Let's see. Like you said, there's so many. I think I've talked about it on my show as well. I don't remember the titles.
Yeah, you know what, sis? I would suggest you actually. I know this doesn't sound like, but I would suggest you look through the archives. You want to look for instance, there's a show that I did called Ori. Okay, ORI. You want to listen to that show because that deals with destiny and your placement. You want to deal with There's a show that I did called the Okan, the Heart Intelligence. You want to tap into that segment. I would also advise you to check out the segment that is entitled "Letting Go." That would be a good one for you. And I know there's more. There's a lot more. These are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Letting Go would be good for you. The Heart, Soul, Intelligence, the Okan. The Ori is good for you. Yeah, this is why I'm supposed to have my list of shows in front of me. It's like over 400 of them.
Right.
No, it's not. Okay. No, this is you asking. Listen, let me tell you something. This is one of the best questions that I got all day. And I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of times people ask questions about things that I've already done. And I have to say, well, I did a show on this. So the fact that you're saying you don't have to give me a whole rundown again, could you just refer me to something you've already done? That's beautiful. So I like that. I appreciate it. I just have to think about which one for specifically, because I do speak about that a lot. Okay. Did you come up with any other ones, Sister Kim?
I'm still thinking.
Okay, no problem. All right, so what I'll do before we get off, just keep listening to the show. While I'm talking, I'm gonna keep thinking. I bet y'all have something else before we say goodbye. All right.
I appreciate it.
No problem, sis. All right, take care. All right, so one more. Okay. You know who you are, and I know who you are, and you know who I am. Welcome to Chief Speaks. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I was wondering who it was. They got that production.
Yeah, we don't need to do area codes with this one. We're beyond area codes. We don't have to be so formal. How you doing, sister?
I'm doing well.
Okay, you don't sound like it.
I see you were answering a few. I'm sorry. I see you were answering a few customer service questions. So I'm like, I'm gonna press number 1. So
that's because no. That's because those were new people. Okay, and because we haven't played the commercial, that's why. Don't you dare get on here and ask me no customer service question. All right, don't even try it. I see how you built your little self all up. Yeah, the tone in her voice. She sounds like Tupac. Yeah, I see it. You want to get down. Let's get down. You want to go there? Let's go there. I hear a little tone in your voice. Dial it down a notch or 5. Don't ask me no customer service question. Tell me how you've been doing with your spiritual work.
Yeah.
With your and let me give you the side with your non-form filling out self. Because I know what you're talking about.
That was my customer service question.
I know what you're talking about. I just cut that off. I already knew where you was going with that. So let's go on to some other stuff.
I've been trying to work on meditating.
Okay.
And I've been working with yoni eggs.
Oh, you must have joined the women's group. Did I tell you to do the yoni eggs, or you joined the women's group and they're doing yoni eggs?
I joined the women's group.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I know yoni eggs is probably not your thing, but
I always advise yoni eggs. That's why I asked. No, I like yoni eggs.
Oh, okay. Yep. So, the black obsidian is really kicking my butt. It's painful, to say the least. So, I'm working on grounding myself. Obviously, with the black obsidian, I have not watched the movie Sankofa, as you advised. I can't find it. It's not on YouTube.
So if it ain't, that's it then. It's not on YouTube. It doesn't exist. Sankofa is just a figment of my imagination.
No, I'm just telling you, I couldn't find it on YouTube. So I have not watched it yet.
Okay. Did you find it on Amazon?
I did find it on Amazon.
Oh, okay. So you can find it. All right. I just want to make sure. I thought I was going crazy for a second. All right.
No.
Yeah.
I have, however, hooked up with, sisters that you advised me to hook up with, people that remind me or are in tune or with Africa or something like that. But so I have hooked up with a sister who is
with something like that. Okay. Keep coming with it. Stop laughing. Keep coming with it.
And so this particular person is from Cameroon, so she invited me to go to Cameroon with her.
Okay.
At the end of the year.
You going?
That's pretty much it.
No, I said, are you going? Are you going to go to Cameroon?
Oh, am I going?
Yeah.
Yes. She's
okay.
She's gonna actually take me to next door to Nigeria. So. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Make sure this women's group that you're in is filled with women who have mates and not a bunch of feminists. Make sure that the head of that group actually has a mate.
She does.
A mate who's not a sucker and a clown who stands behind her.
She does. Actually, they're into polyandry or something like whatever. Polyandry, I think it's called.
Multiple husbands, one woman.
Yes.
So she's a feminist.
Probably.
Okay. I mean, I'm saying what I'm saying for a reason. I'm not just throwing it out there. This is not general advice. Okay.
Yes, I understand that.
So you want to look at the individuals who are in that group. You got a bunch of single mothers in there.
That's hard to say.
Okay.
That's hard to say because I'm not sure.
I bet you do. Try to open up your eyes and try to look in the group now. Start talking to people. Okay? And I guarantee you're going to find out two things. You're going to find that the head of the group is misrepresenting herself. Now, I'm just going to give it to you direct. I guarantee that you find that the head of that group is misrepresenting herself. She's not heterosexual, nor is she even a womanist, but she's actually a feminist who doesn't even like men. I bet you're going to find that the head of that group is very self-absorbed and doesn't have half as much magic as they say they do. And you're going to see that as a result of the other women who are in that group. You're going to see a bunch of single, broken, angry feminists. Okay.
Okay.
Just take a look. Now, people are probably surprised. I can't believe he just said that because normally I don't talk like that about people. So if I'm saying that, it's out of concern. And I don't know who this person is, right? You didn't say a name. We didn't talk about this. I don't know who, and you don't need to say the person's name. So maybe I'm completely off and my spidey senses are off this morning and everybody can ignore everything I just said, perhaps. But I'm just going to say to you that it would be a wise thing if you took a keener look at that particular group. You don't want anyone or any situation that's going to just mirror your anger or mirror what your ego is already telling you to do. And I sense a lot of anger in that group and a lot of self-absorption. And you know, I'm a huge advocate of women's groups. So anybody listening, I think that's one of the most awesome things that women can do when they get together and they share their experiences and they give each other that shoulder to cry on, or just they vent to each other, or they do magic together, which is even better. So I'm not shooting down women's groups per se, just so everybody's listening knowing. In fact, I advised the sister who's speaking right now to join one. I don't like this one. I can feel it. I can even feel the change in your energy. I don't like it. And always remember when you were worried before, or not worried, but you were talking about how you feel like you don't have these deep experiences that other people are having?
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in that with because a lot of women's groups, women lie to each other a lot because a lot of them feel the same way. Instead of saying like, all right, I stuffed the egg up inside of me, I didn't feel anything. They'll go through this whole, well, no, when I saw this vision, all that. Don't get caught up in that either. Whatever you go through is what you go through. It's no less valid than anyone else. And don't forget, a lot of people lie anyway. No one wants to say like, I got so many issues right now and so much anger inside of me that the truth is I can't feel much of anything. You know, I have to have very rough sex and drink a lot of liquor and just to feel something in life in general, let alone a subtle spiritual change. So don't get back into that space where you feel bad about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Not shooting down your group. You know, again, like I said, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't like what I'm feeling.
Okay.
Yeah. And polyandrous? That's suspect. And a lot of people going to say, well, you talk about having multiple wives. Yeah. Do we have a shortage of women or men? It's kind of greedy in this day and time to be polyandrous, don't you think? But anyway, that's a whole nother show. But yeah, just get at some thought.
Okay, well.
Yeah. And what else was you calling for? What's going on? You're welcome, by the way, for putting myself out there. I probably lost 5 callers just in what I just said. I probably lost like 10 callers just in what I just said. But you're welcome. I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's too late. Too late. You should have said that earlier. What else is going
Nothing
on?
else is going on.
Okay.
I just want my password reset so I can go.
Oh, you did it! That was real slick. See how you just snuck it? That was slick. Okay. See what happens? You join this little women's group, you get all sassy.
I knew that was coming.
See, now you sassy, you get all slick and everything. Okay. All right. I'll deal with you.
Not at all. I'm not being sassy.
I'll deal with you. That's all I want you to know.
I know you will.
You'll be dealt with.
I know you will.
Okay. All right. Enjoy your Sunday, Sister Soldier.
Thank you, too.
All right. Peace.
Have a good day.
You too. Slick self. Her technically challenged self. Let me put it what it really is. Anyway, so another show for the sister who called earlier. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Dealing with that. Oh, couple ones. I'm gonna give you a list, sis, if you're still listening. If not, hopefully you'll get these from the archives. And even though the titles may say one thing, it doesn't mean that that's what the entirety of the show was about. But these are just segments that I know that you would do a lot with. We'll say that you'll do a lot with. So one of which, in regards to your situation, so one of which I would say is consciousness for the children. Is one. Consciousness for the children. You should be able to find that one. The other one I would say is positive affirmations. Okay, and again, it's not just a show about positive affirmations. In case you're saying I already did positive, it's deeper than that. But these are just the titles that I used. Okay, but these are the ones that will work well for you in terms of trying to understand why did my soul pick this particular experience? What was I supposed to get out of it? Another segment is hate. Okay, you should check out hate. That would work very well for you in terms of your situation. Another one is grounded. Another one that would work well for you and your situation. Another one is oppression and repression. Oppression and repression. You want to check that one out. Self-centered. That's another show that I advise you to check out that I did. I think most of those shows are from this year, in fact. But just search. If you just search by name, you'll be able to find them without a huge issue. Another one is Born. BORN. That's the name of the show. Born. Check out Born. Okay. And actually, there's 2 shows on repression. Technically, you might want to check them both out. Okay. Let me think. I know that's a lot, but I know you're not gonna listen to them all in one night. But these are the ones you want to check out. Spiritual War and Inner Peace. It's another one. There's another one by the name of Spirituality and Family that Sister Kim did. It's a real good one. I remember. Vampirical Energies. These are all just the search terms you can put in, and you just go through them one by one. All right. And Dealing with Loss. It's another one that you should tap into. Yeah.
It's a bunch.
Yeah, that's a bunch. And there's even more than that, but I don't want to, make you feel overloaded. So, you can go through those and then, I may be able to direct you to some more. Now that you asked about it, which was and I told you already the heart and soul intelligence. But now that you asked about it, I can maybe make a little side note and I'll have it ready in case, or when you get through those, in case you have more questions or if someone else asks and want some direction. That was a good question. Like I said, it was a very good question. Thank you. I like when people refer to what's already been done instead of, having to start over. Also, I wanted to tell you, Love, Hell, or Right is another one I would suggest you listen to. Love, Hell, or Right. Love, Hell, or Right. Okay, you want to check out that one as well. All right. So that has been our segment. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in and staying on for this long. And again, classes at seduluhouse.com, right? You can always go there. You can go there to schedule readings too, or osirislife.com if you want to do more of that monthly stuff. And we're going to play the commercials next time because I know I'm a terrible commercial presenter because
you did an awesome job.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say something about that as soon as you said, "Can you have anything?"
You think I did?
Gosh, you like just rattled them off.
You cracking on me? I know you.
I'm not
cracking on
me. I was gonna say that because I was like, never really. You'll say, "Oh, I don't remember. I let the sister do that."
Okay. All right. Then you know what? Then I'm not gonna add on then, because if I went out on a high note, I'm gonna leave it there. Because if I try to start talking, I'm gonna mess something up. I'm gonna give a wrong web address or something. So I'm gonna leave it alone. But yeah, just go back in the archives and listen to when I actually nailed it. And you can go back and listen to all that stuff, according to Sister Kim. But she probably just wants to hurry up and get off the phone and go enjoy her Sunday. So that's what that really is. No, you did good before. You done. We out. You done. Just you can close out from here. Lead them. Yeah, I know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So So again, thank you all for listening. And I'm gonna give everybody a heads up, especially those of you who are patient enough to stay into the archives. We're going to be changing the shows in January, where we won't be doing as many shows. Okay, but you know what? I thought about something today, because when Michelle, the first caller who called in and was like, I can do the rundown. When I was like, they ain't listening to all them shows. They don't know. Yeah, okay, I know you. I already admitted it on the air. I see, obviously. They said in the ribs, bring it up under the rib cage. Got to bring it under the rib cage. Yeah, right, go for the kill shot. So the thing is, I want you all to let me know. Let me know, and responsibly let me know. You can leave a comment on this video because what we're gonna do soon is we're gonna consolidate most of the strong day shows, the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday shows into one show. Let me know how you feel about that. And don't like I said, be responsible. Don't just give me a greedy comment. Like, nah, just keep shows coming. And you ain't listened to Thunderground Thursday in 3 years. Okay, just really be responsible and think about it. Because as you all know, it's a lot of information. It's a lot to process. Let's be honest about that. And you may not need as many shows as you think you do. So that's part of our plans. And I was waiting to the last minute to announce it because I didn't really feel like dealing with the backlash. But I'm gonna put it out there. And you guys let me know how you feel about it. Maybe we can do something. I'm willing to change things around a little bit if I get some responsible comments on that. But if not, we're gonna go through what we're going through. All right. But in any event, I know you hear all those bleeps going off. They looking for me. They ain't looking for me. All right. So that has been our Chief Speaks for this Sunday. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be right back next strong with our same repertoires of shows and topics and everything like that. And make sure you guys sign up for the up and coming webinars. And if you're not a student, come become a student. And I know we haven't been announcing that a lot because we're still getting emails like, how do I want to study with you? How do I begin? And sometimes I'm thinking in my head, like, it's obvious. Everybody knows we do this, but I got to remember, no, we haven't been saying it, But it is in the description of the shows. It says, actually, the descriptions are different. I know the high frequency show says you can go to sedulahouse.com. But we used to have the listing of the shows and the school and everything. So, with that, the links and stuff are there. But if you go to ANU Nation, you can get everything. But we'll introduce the commercials again. You guys, if you remember, I hated the commercials. Because I'm like, man, we teaching, calls are coming in, and then we got a break for an announcement. And I used to always stop the commercial. Like, we'll do it next week. Which probably isn't the best thing because then nobody knows what's going on. But that's the teacher in me, just wanting to teach and make sure everybody gets it and all that stuff like that. But yeah, just let me know how you feel about that. All right. And until such time, I want to thank you all for tuning in to Chief Speaks. And I say peace, power, and strength to you all. Come on, Sister Kim. Where's your late piece? You always thank you. You always get that last late piece. I can't close out with it. Peace.
Double.
Yo, she hyped it up. It's bringing in the Yoruba. Double. Okay. All right. Peace, everyone.